Hey, what's up, everybody? Pat here, gratefully recovering alcoholic and addict, just like every day. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe, leave the video a like, drop me a comment, and by all means, share it with anybody you think might get something out of it. Other than that, how we all doing, everybody? Happy Saturday. What an absolutely gorgeous day today, guys. Like 55 degrees and sunny here in Boston. Job I've been talking about a little bit. I finished that job up, so it's done well before the deadline of, well, I guess tomorrow, at the end of the month. People are moving in Monday, so I brought my buddy Jimmy in today. We got that job done. Yeah, it was beautiful. I actually took some time to clean out my truck, so it was so nice outside. That felt really good. My truck's been getting abused with all the work I've been doing lately. And my new sponsor called this morning. We had a good talk, just talking about life in general, recovery, what he likes to do as far as going through the steps. Just appreciates my enthusiasm, that I'm taking it seriously, so I'm not wasting his time. That felt really good. I love my recovery program. I love my life, as hard as this. And let me tell you guys, today, it was nice to get some stuff done, nice to get past the storm. I'm absolutely slammed. Today was another one of those days where I just get non-stop barrage of phone calls. And I think I've got to come to some terms about making some more time where people just know that, listen, I'm just shutting the phone off because, maybe half a day Saturday afternoon, because people come to the understanding, or not even understanding, people just assume, like, I know it's convenient for people that work their jobs, and they want to call me all day long Sunday to schedule stuff. People call me all night Saturday night, schedule stuff. And that's my downtime when I'm doing my recovery stuff. So, and I'm just thinking out loud here, you know what I mean? But these are things I've got to understand, because one of the greatest gifts of recovery is my ability to feel emotions. But at the same time, I've also got to handle them. And I noticed there's times where, like, after having a beautiful day and deciding I was done, well, the rest of the world doesn't know that I've decided I was done. And I started getting a little frustrated today when people just boom, 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 non-stop calls. And it's nobody's fault. It's just part of life, and I'm grateful to be as busy as I am. But it's like I don't want to get to a point where I'm getting frustrated, and I've got to just figure out how to deal with these things. And that's part of the beauty of recovery. It's another opportunity for me to use my emotions for what they're there for. They're there to let me know where I'm at, what's going on in my life, whether it's a good thing, whether I'm experiencing joy, whether I'm starting to feel overwhelmed, do I need to make some changes. And the beauty of it is, without one, you don't have the other. Because if I don't have a down day where I'm, lonely, because guys, I do. I get lonely. As booked and busy as I am, I don't have a significant other. I don't have a girlfriend at the moment. I haven't in quite some time. And again, that'll happen in due time. I'm enjoying building what I'm building. But, I got to understand that there's going to be an ebb and flow, and I offset if I start feeling too many negative emotions, it means I got to go out and start spending more time looking for joy in my life. And understanding it's all a balance, but they're all there for a reason, and they're all necessary. And it's like, overwhelming to understand why, it's hard to understand why I spent so much time and effort trying to deny and numb out every feeling. Like, I was terrified of every feeling, and just there's no reason for that. So, emotions are the ability just to have human emotions and act like a human and be like everybody else in the world is one of the biggest gifts to recovery, and it's the biggest thing I was lacking in addiction. And that's also that's the title of the reading today, guys. The greatest gift. It's the Just for Today NA meditation. The greatest gift. Our newly found faith serves as a firm foundation for courage for the future. When we begin coming to meetings, we hear other addicts talking about the gifts they have received as a result of this program. Things we never thought of as gifts before. One such gift is the renewed ability to feel the emotions we had deadened for so long with drugs. It is not difficult to think of love, joy, and happiness as gifts, even if it's been a long time since we felt them. But what about the quote-unquote bad feelings like anger, sadness, fear, and loneliness? Such emotions can't be seen as gifts, we tell ourselves. After all, how can we be thankful for things we want to run from? Well, we can be grateful for these emotions in our lives if we place them in proper perspective. We need to remember that we've come to believe in a loving higher power, and we've asked that power to care for us. And our higher power does not make mistakes. The feelings we experience are felt for a reason, both good feelings and bad. With this in mind, we come to realize there are no bad feelings after all, only lessons to be learned. Our faith and our higher powers care give us the courage we need to face whatever feelings may come up on a daily basis. As we heard in early recovery, your higher power won't give you more than you can handle in a day, and the ability to feel our emotions is one of the greatest gifts of recovery. And the affirmation is just for today, I will try to welcome my feelings, firm in the belief that I have the courage to face whatever emotions may come up in my life. And guys, it's great. And I tell you, this is one that hits the core because this is one of the first and the first and most obvious sign I had. I've talked about this many times. This whole entire process really began for me months before I got clean, when I was just in a bad place. I was trying to hide it from somebody that I was talking to a lot, and I was lying through my teeth about everything. And again, I never met this girl. I had to stop talking to her. I don't know what the deal was, but we were getting to know each other for a while. She was on the other side of the country, and she knew I was like, something was drastically wrong in my life. I mean, I was just working round the clock, not sleeping, and denying that I was using drugs again. I told her I'd had a past history of drugs, but I mean, it had to be obvious because, guys, literally, I would stay up for 15 days, talk to her around the clock while I was working and home all night, and then I'd disappear for 3 days and explain that I was sleeping, and I mean, come on, who couldn't see that, right? But again, I was lying. So finally one night she asked me, "When's the last time you prayed?" Completely out of the blue, and I'm like, "I haven't said a prayer in decades." And she's like, "Why don't you say one with me tonight?" And I've talked about this many times because it's one of the most important moments of my life. I did so to appease her. She was half my age, pretty girl, getting to know her. At the time, I was entertaining notions of flying to Texas to hang out with her, even though I was hooked on heroin, and like, how's that going to work, right? But again, even that was a godsend because it got me to start to see, well, I can't move forward in any way, shape, or form with my life. Like, even if I had an opportunity to fall in love, I can't because I'm cooked on drugs and I'm not going to be able to give anything in life attention. So when she asked me to say a prayer that night, I did. I just, honesty came out of my mouth that, God, please let me walk in your light. I've been in the darkness too long. Please show me your path for me. And boom, something clicked that day. And so the next night I took it upon myself to say, hey, let's say a prayer again. And then even as I started, and so anyway, the important thing is I immediately bonded with prayer, and I felt something. Again, from there it got difficult because as I started to pray and ask God to let me walk in his light every night, he started making me take the steps that were going to get me there, even though I didn't know this at the time. I had no idea what was happening at the time, but all of a sudden, my ability to get high just seemed to go away. Like, I could do all the drugs in the world, and I couldn't numb out the feelings. And all of a sudden, I'd be sitting there trying to numb out the voices in my head, the overwhelming knowledge that this had to stop. Like, that was the one thing that was just pounding. This has got to stop. I can't keep doing this. What is the point? I can't do this. I can't do this. I don't want to do this. And I would try to get high and put it to bed because that was what I did. And boom, I couldn't. So I would pray again. And as a month and a half or 2 months, that was like October, somewhere around Halloween. And by Thanksgiving, it was like, okay, like I started speaking on to a couple of trusted people, Doug and a couple others. And I'm like, listen, I got to do something. I can't keep doing this. I wasn't ready to surrender yet. I thought I was going to find some magical cure that was going to fix 40 years of addiction without a program. Crazy, right? But again, I was pretty messed up at that point. But it all got me to where I needed to be because as I started asking God for more and listening more and feeling more, it hurt. And that's what I needed. I needed internal pain because prison, homelessness, and physical pain, fear of the police, fear of anything external to me was not enough. So God was reaching me from the inside, from my feelings, making me feel the despair that I was in, and then making me understand, give me that little spark of hope that I could do better. So I started listening in my prayers and paying attention to what was going on around me. And then, Doug, when I couldn't come to the decision, I literally decided I was going to go lay in bed for 3 days and detox and just get off the drugs because I thought that was the only problem. God, was I wrong? I was the problem. My life was the problem. The way I looked at myself was the problem. My broken, operating system, like, the way the computer program running my brain at that point was corrupt. And I needed a complete and utter overhaul. But I couldn't come to that conclusion. And if I had, it would have been so overwhelming. I would have, like, freaked out and, I don't know what would have happened, but I couldn't handle that point. So God was giving me one message at a time, and the first was shed the drugs, put down the drugs, put down the drugs, and it was just boom, nonstop. And I was starting to get promises. Put down the drugs, and I will remove the negativity from your heart. So again, boom, I finally surrendered. I go to rehab, and all of a sudden, before I even realize what's going on, this positive version of me is back, and people are like, "Wow, you're so upbeat and positive." And at the time, it's not because I'm running around me happy. No, I was choking up, and I was feeling emotions, and it was tough. But I was leading from a place of positivity. I was leading from hope. God was restoring the hope in me, and that was like an amazing gift. So as tough as these emotions are, and they have been throughout, guys. I've had a history this last 14 months of getting choked up. It's happened on the channel many times. I think only once I've actually broke down and cried. But that was my 1 year, just joy, and I cry out of joy today, guys. I mean, you can't physically hurt me. I've, like so many of us, physical pain, we can handle these things. But it was my inability to process positive emotions because they've been absent from my life for so long. That's where I started to get choked up. And the beauty of it was, for once in my life, I didn't run from that. And that's what I'd always do in the past. Like, oh, I can't go speak at this meeting. I'm going to get choked up. I got to go take a Valium so I don't get... No, like, I understand. In order to do this, I've got to be authentic. And if I'm going to choose to do it publicly on my channel, then clearly I have to be authentic, or I couldn't look at myself and do this every day. And every one of these decisions has brought me to where I am and where I'm going, which is, I have a sense of self-worth I've never known was possible. I have hope that is beyond hope. It's straight knowledge. Like, I know that I'm on the fast track and I'm on the right track and I'm doing the right thing because my higher power, who I'm in conscious contact with daily, shows me in so many ways, shapes, and forms, in ways that are specifically tailored to what works and my brain can understand. I'm exceptional in a lot of ways. Like, I'm capable of a lot of great things, but I also have my weaknesses and my obliviousness and my hard-headedness, and God knows all of these things and finds the perfect ways to put in my life that I know constantly. Like, every recertification, every interview I go with any kind of a professional, like, boom, I stand out like a sore thumb, and they let me know that immediately, because the most positive and powerful thing that I'm doing today is working my program to the best of my ability. So every time that comes up, it's like, boom, shining star. Like, let's bring this into light, and I get tons of accolades on it. Another positive thing I've been doing is getting healthy, because I never treated my body well at all. Again, another miracle, another way that I know God's always been with me is the fact that I'm as healthy as I am for what I've done. Like, I see people that suffer from so many things, and I'm like, how? I used to drink, I didn't eat. I would eat a processed microwave meal like every other day, and I would drink about 2 2-liter bottles and 3 or 4 16-ounce bottles of Coca-Cola every day. That shit's straight acid. But here I am, incredibly healthy. My cholesterol is perfect. My blood pressure is perfect. My heart rate's perfect. My lungs don't show the damage of smoking for 40 years that I did. Like, I'm incredibly grateful and I'm incredibly lucky. And I see today that that's God in my life keeping me whole, because He knew He had purpose for me. He knew I would get to a point where the suffering would be enough that I feel I can empathize with anybody I run into, and I can offer advice, and I can just not even offer advice necessarily, but I can feel the camaraderie, and I can show support, knowing that I understand the pain of just about anything anybody out there has been through, particularly in addiction, because I took it to a level very few will ever make it through. Like, they say 2% survive addiction. Well, I'm one of the 1%ers that have been through the depth that I have and then come through the other side. And then, because I found the beauty in surrender, and because I work a program to the best of my ability, and I continue to expand, like, I've never plateaued in this. And that's something I always said. I get one, I do okay, well, the halfway house, maybe do this. I would make it look like I applied. I could show enthusiasm because that's my natural. But I never gave my heart and soul to a program. And again, I'm not there yet, but I'm trying and I'm getting there constantly. the fact that I'm so excited for the uncomfortable hard work to come from doing the work in the 12 steps with a proper um, knowledgeable sponsor, like, yeah, there's parts of it that terrify me because, it's the unknown. What traumas are going to be brought up, but at the same time I stop and I look at the work that I've done just with God, my therapist, my recovery coach, with everything, every program, everything I've done, and I see that God doesn't allow anything that I can't handle into my life. And I've been spoon fed just enough in the early days to show that, like, the way the signs and synchronicities would show up in my early life, guys. When you work a program like this and you give yourself full surrender and you go in blind faith and you take the uncomfortable, hard leaps of faith, the way that things that you need will miraculously show up in your hand right when you need them. And then when you start showing more faith because of that you start taking, not physically, but, just stepping off the bridge blindfolded, knowing God's going to catch you. And then when you get caught over and over again, like, there's a comfort, there is a sense of peace, there is a trust that all will be well, that you start gaining in your experience, and you start doing it in bigger ways. Not in a cocky way, but just to show God, I know you've got me. I see what you're putting here. I'm paying attention to what you're putting in my life, and I'm making the best move I can. When I make a mistake, I will apologize. I constantly apologize for falling short in my prayers. But it's one thing to say it, and it's another to get up every day and just step that much harder to actually take. And here's the thing, guys. The reason the program's laid out the way it is because as you get comfort and learn, and then you take this next step and you apply it in your life. Applying it in your life, that is the key. That's the difference, and that's what I've done this time around. So when I start taking my inventory, not listening to people say this is what you do, but actually coming home and saying, okay, when I first heard these things, it made no sense to me. I don't even understand how you take an inventory. So I sat here at my desk, and guys, I've got a drawer full of notebooks, stack of notebooks this high, from the guy that would never sign his name. Like, I've taken to writing because I understand that I internalize things better as I write them down. It's why I take and I do the readings and I write them by hand and then read them off my own paper every day, which is why I stumble with them because my writing's terrible. But it's okay. Progress, not perfection. I'm showing God I'm willing to do it. But again, so as I take my inventory, I learn the lessons and I notice the patterns and I see the way things interweave and they go, and then I just trust the program that much more because I work it to the best of my ability, and I do so on a daily basis. And the results absolutely speak for themselves. Like, I called it in my earliest videos, you stick around 6 months, a year from now, my life's going to look so much better, so much different. Guys, it's shocking. I would have never believed that I was going to age backwards 10 years, that I'm going to be bench pressing 395 pounds, that I'm going to be running a business that's thriving so well that I'm literally in position to buy in, at least split, buy in 50% of a construction project, or wait another 6 to 8 months and buy my own 3-family home on my own. Like, these are miraculous things. These were pipe dreams, but again, the pipe dreams that meant so much to me that I would continue putting them in the pipe are all the ones that are coming to fruition because I've shown God that I know He's here, that I'm listening, that I'm paying attention, and that I'm willing to do the work. I'm willing to take the uncomfortable steps. I'm willing to feel the uncomfortable emotions. Like, I was somebody that was so stoic and robotic. Like, even my ex-wife saw me upset one night, and she's like, wow, I can't believe you actually have feelings. And then here I am, like, allowing myself to get choked up on video, getting choked up. As a matter of fact, I'm speaking at the Tuesday speaker meeting this coming week, and this is the second time. First time I got choked up in front of my own entire group, and like, I'm okay with that because learning to process emotions is not only part of recovery, but it's one of the biggest gifts. Because without the feelings, you don't know where you're at. When I have physical pain, it lets me know I've done something dangerous, or I've got to pay attention to what I'm doing. When I have an emotional pain, it might tell me that I'm in a bad relationship or I'm in a dangerous situation. When I have spiritual pain, it's because I'm doing something drastically wrong and not what I'm supposed to be doing. And I know these things today, and I'm so incredibly grateful for the ability to feel the emotions. And I look back at it and I realize that feeling emotions is what started this whole process for me. So yes, absolutely, as tough as it can be, it is absolutely the greatest gift to recovery. Guys, that is a video for today. Thank you so much for being here with me. Always remember, God loves you. I love you. We'll see you in the next one.